we're bringing you all you need to succeed in the real estate business. It's Spilling the LT, brought to you by Lawyers Title, telling you what it's really like to work in real estate.
Welcome to a new episode of Spilling the LT with Lawyers Title. My name is Catherine Daves. I'm Director of Dallas County. And today I have the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Joe Theriot.
Oh, gosh.
Good morning.
What an introduction. I don't know if I deserve that at all.
I hope you can live up to that during this interview.
It could be tough. We'll see. We'll see how this is going to go.
So, Mr. Joe Theriot, let's get into it. Tell us all about yourself.
Well, I am from Lakewood, East Dallas. Grew up there, born and raised. Went to Lakewood Elementary, J.L. Long Junior High, Woodrow Wilson High School. So all the way through public school, Lakewood. So I love East Dallas, native Dallas side. And then I went to Texas A&M undergrad, gig 'em. Some people
Die
out there.
hard, don't talk to him on football days.
So went to A&M undergrad, and then I ended up at SMU Law School. Had to go to Oklahoma City my first year because I had a little too much fun in college, and my grades weren't the greatest.
If anyone knows you, they would never think
I know,
that.
shocking,
That's
right?
That's very shocking.
The only school that I could get in was Oklahoma City University, so I went there my first year and was fortunate enough to do well my first year and was able to transfer into SMU, and I graduated from SMU Law School, and that's how I kind of,
And so then where were you working? You were working for a law firm downtown.
Well, so when I first graduated from college, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I actually started waiting tables at Blue Goose Canteen. I had no clue what I was doing. And then I got into sales and bounced around some sales job, and I always kind of wanted to go to law school. Always thought it's kind of what I should maybe do. So went to law school, thought I was going to be in the courtroom, thought I was going to be, just defending and criminals or whatever. I just thought courtroom was where I was going to be, making a difference in the world, saving the world, as they say. And ended up, did well at SMU, got a job at a big firm downtown. I worked first at Brown McCarroll, then ended up at Munch Hart. Great firm, met tons of great people there, still am friends with people I met there to this day. But I started realizing, I don't think this is what I want to do with my life.
Yeah.
I was in front of a computer all day, typing out motions, briefs, and it just wasn't what I thought I was going to be doing. And I was like, I want to do something else. I don't see myself here when I'm 60 years old. I just don't want to do this for the rest of my life.
And so cue in, your family is in real estate.
Yes, so they are. And so they, kind of started talking to me. So my brother's a mortgage person, been in the mortgage business for a long time. And my brother kind of started in real estate and then got my sister was
he was the first.
He was the first.
Okay.
And then kind of talked my sister in, you should be a real estate agent. And so my sister became a real estate agent, very successful real estate agent in Lakewood, East Dallas. And they started kind of saying, why don't you get in the title business? Because they knew I wasn't very happy where I was. And like, you should get in the title business. We could send you business. This is easy. We could make this a Theriot trifecta deal.
Well, yes, and here we are with the trifecta. So
yeah, so it kind of started that way. But I had no idea how to get in the title business. I was clueless. And my brother.
Which I think most people are. It's a very kind of like,
you don't know.
Elusive. I mean, I've been in it for 5 years. I'm still like, what? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of.
I tell people all the time, it's like, you don't know title until you're in it and working in it.
Yes.
And so luckily my brother had gone to high school with Keith Williams, who runs all our DFW operation. And
also lives in Lakewood.
He does. And so at that time, there wasn't an office in Lakewood for Lawyers Title. And he'd always kind of wanted to, but Lakewood's very hard to break into. And so my brother said, why don't you just go have breakfast with this guy? I went to high school with Keith Williams. I had no idea who Keith was, never met him. And even my brother didn't realize what he really did for Lawyers Title.
He thought he just like worked there.
Yeah, he just thought he was in the title business.
And really like the president.
Yeah. He didn't even know that, and I didn't realize that until I got to breakfast with him. But Keith Williams is a very persuasive person.
Yes.
He's hilarious. I love him. But I went and had breakfast with him, and by the end of it, I was like, I think he just offered me a job. I think I'm going to work for him. this is kind of crazy, but let's do it, So jumped right in.
And honestly, if you work at Lawyer's Title, because that happened to me, I went to breakfast with him and I literally left going, I called my husband. I'm like, I think I got a job. And honestly, I bet you a lot of people at this company can say that.
100%.
Which, that's just the way he is.
That's the way
we
he
love
rolls.
him.
That's why I love him. But
oh my gosh. And so how long have you been with the company now? So you got that job, didn't know title,
just, all I knew about title was what I learned in property at law school, which doesn't tell you anything about title. So he knew though that I needed to learn how to, and I wanted to learn from start to finish, because my whole goal was to run my own title office. I mean, that's what I wanted to do. And so I knew that I had to learn from start to finish. I don't care. I want to do everything.
The ins and outs,
so I went to work, because we didn't have an office at the time in Lakewood. I went to work in our Oak Lawn office. And thank God for Jennifer Draheim and Joel Janevsky, because I basically asked them 1,000 questions a day, and that's how I learned the title business. And Jennifer was so busy, and she just said, "Go in there and close them." And I didn't know what I was doing, and I just had to figure it out, But I did, and I learned as much as I could. And luckily, we had a kind of a pseudo fee office in Lakewood that. I was working in our Oak Lawn office for about 6 months. And Keith calls me up and says, "Hey, we've got this space in the Wells Fargo Tower in Lakewood. They've got a couple offices that are open. Would you consider wanting to, go over there?" And I didn't even hesitate. I was like, "Yes, done." And so literally I was walking out, and Denise Robnett had just started with us, and she was a salesperson. And I said, "Come on, Denise, you're coming with me." Just grabbed her. And she's like, "Oh, okay." Poor Denise. And basically, because I knew I needed somebody there to at least answer
the phone
phones,
or
be at the front desk, whatever. It needed to be somewhat look like a title office.
We're not the most professional.
No, it was a little.
Like always fly by the seat of our pants.
It was very questionable. It's a miracle that we made it through that time. But she was awesome. Love Denise to this day if she's listening. But anyway, so it was just me and her, and started to build it. Started to build the business. Started to get some more orders.
And that was how many years ago?
That was 7 years ago. Yeah. So I've been with the company now for 7 years, and then kind of what was a huge game changer was hiring Aaron Baker at the time, Aaron Myers now, and Virginia Brown, who. Those two had been in title, they were experienced, and I just knew when I hired them, I was like, okay, I think we can
breathe
do
a little bit.
I think we can do this. I've got another good closer. Virginia just knows title inside and out. So I had two really good people with me. And as you know, it's all about your team. And that's kind of where it started. So we started to gain some traction, get some orders here and there. So we kind of survived, It was a little crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Who would have thought? So.
And then about 5 years ago, we moved into the space that we are in now, right?
Yeah, so we started building it. And Keith told me, he's like, "Look, man, if you can get me some orders, I'll get you space." And so my whole goal is, Keith, we've got some orders though.
Yeah.
So Lakewood is a difficult place though to find a good space for a title office. You've got the heart of Lakewood, which is right next to Lakewood Country Club that, yes, that's great because that's where, a lot of the events for Lakewood take place. But, we wanted to be an East Dallas market. We wanted to cater to Lake Highlands. I live in Lake Highlands. You live in Lake Highlands.
Yes.
And so we knew we were going to try to get business from Lake Highlands. So Keith is very good at looking and saying, okay, I think this is where we should be. So we both decided Mockingbird and Abrams. And so we really basically, said, okay, we want to be over there, but we weren't really sure. So just timing wise, we got a space in the Tom Thumb Shopping Center, and we love it because we tell everybody we're at Mockingbird and Abrams. Everybody knows where we are.
Everybody knows,
And we've got realtors that come from Plano, and you can go down Mockingbird from Central, or agents that come from Lake Highlands. It's easy to get to.
Yeah, totally.
And we're actually the closest title office to Lake Highlands. So yeah, that's right. So it just made sense for us, and we've loved it. It's been great. We've been there now. We're actually coming up on the end of we're actually about to renew our lease because it's been 5 years.
So
it's crazy.
Just so I've been with the company for 5 years, and just in the 5 years I have been there, the growth that we've had, not only in our East Dallas office is blown up,
Yeah.
but just as a company as a whole.
100%.
Our Dallas presence, we now have our Park Cities office in Preston Center.
Super excited about that.
Great team there. I mean, I just feel like our Dallas presence has really blown up.
100%.
And it's amazing to watch the growth.
And let me give you a little credit. Part of that was you coming on board. Catherine was a huge hire for us. Everybody knows Catherine. Everybody loves her, and she's awesome. So she took our office from here to there.
Well,
huge. So you've been a huge part of it.
I appreciate that. Thank you. He only says nice things to me when we're in front of people.
Well, I can't let her get too big of a head. But we've had huge growth, and we're so excited about this new Park Cities office. It's at Preston Center. It's a beautiful office, first floor.
So pretty.
We've got a great team now over there. Jason Ramsey came over initially with his team, he's great. And then we just hired Bill Kanowski and Randy Ramirez. So now we've got 3 closers over there that are
crazy. That happened like that too.
Just like that.
Yeah.
We were very fortunate. Things fell into place. And so now that office is going. So it's been great.
And so, okay, so you did all the back end, then you were mainly, obviously you're our in-house attorney. You were the manager at the Lakewood office, also escrow officer.
Yeah.
But
I had a lot of hats going
now
on.
you have taken a new role. So kind of tell us a little bit about that.
I'm super excited about it. Our Lakewood office got to a point where I was confident in handing it over to Erin Myers, who's now the manager.
Yes, so excited.
She's been with me for, almost, I think, around 5 or 6 years. And I just knew it was time.
Yeah.
I needed to kind of, get out of the day-to-day closings where I could get out and do more stuff like this.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
And just kind of be more of a overseer of our offices, but still be the attorney when people can call me. And now I'm trying to recruit more. And that's one of the things that I love about Lawyers Title. We're constantly looking for good people. So I always tell people, if they're good, we'll talk to them. And they got, if they're somebody we think we can bring onto our team that would be a fit, we're going to talk to them. Doesn't matter. We'll figure out where they're going to go, where they're going to go. So that's a big part of my role as well. So it's all in Dallas County. We're just trying to keep building our Dallas County presence, our brand, and orders. So that's what I'm doing.
Excited about that because I feel like, to have you out,
it's great.
People know you in Lakewood. People, I feel like, and also to have that attorney, you're still accessible. People are like, oh no, he's not in the office anymore. I'm like, well, you have a cell. Call him. He'll answer still.
I'm still available for sure.
But I feel like to have you kind of out and about and seeing people is always a good idea. I feel like,
I've loved it.
So
it's been great. It's been a good situation. Our offices are just doing so great that it was just time. And I think it's going to be great.
Okay, so now we're going to do like a little Stump the Attorney Title 101.
Fun. I'm sure this is exciting for people at home. What is title? It's so
but
exciting.
I think it is important because, like we said earlier, people don't know.
You're right.
Obviously, probably the agent does, but sometimes even the agents don't, especially if they're newer. They're like, I don't know. Are y'all going to help me? Who's going to hold my hand?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're just going to go. What is title?
What is title? So title encompasses a lot of things.
Okay.
So I would say title is basically the whole process of we get an address from a contract or a title request or a legal description, and we say, okay, we've got to now go search and figure out, is there any liens on this property? What is going on? Is there any restrictions? And we send that off to our plant that researches all that.
Right.
And then they come back and they say, okay, here's everything that's, if there's issues on this property, or if there's a clean chain of title, that's part of it. We want to make sure that people have transferred this title correctly. So all of that kind of encompasses title. So it's kind of the research of the specific property to figure out, okay, what's going on there? Who's owns it? Is there any liens on it? So I think it's all those things. And then we take a look at that, and then we figure out, okay, here's what we got to do.
Right.
We got to clear this. We got to do whatever. But all of that.
So that is on the commitment, correct?
That's correct.
And I feel like one of the questions that people ask me a lot actually are, okay, we get this commitment back, and there's all these things. Like, as an agent, what do I need to look at? What are the most important things?
So I think there's 3 things that are very important. I think the first thing that I always look at, and I tell everybody that I train, is on Schedule A, you want to figure out who is entitled. So who is investing is what it's called. But what's the name in that title? Because you want to make sure that that name matches on the contract with who the seller is.
Okay.
And if it doesn't, you got a problem.
Eek.
Yeah, there's problems. Yeah. And so there could be issues with, it's a new entity name, or somebody died and the name is still in that person that's died. They're still in title, because so many people think that, I didn't have my parents didn't have a will, it just transferred to me.
Right.
That doesn't happen. It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
You have to do things to get it in your name. It just doesn't automatically happen.
Right.
So I always tell agents, I always say, hey, look, if there's any questions on who owns this property, or you think there's a probate issue, let us look at it first.
Right.
Let us open up title.
Right.
Because the problem becomes is when you got a signed contract and then there's this title issue that it's not easily solved, and then your seller's in potentially a breach of contract situation, because we can't get it resolved by time, because probate takes a while if we have to do that. So it's always good to figure out if there's any red flags on the front end than it is on the back end.
Right.
So I always tell people that.
So Schedule A, and then what are the others?
So Schedule A is the first one.
Okay.
So then I think the next thing is you want to look at Schedule B and see, are there any restrictions on this property?
Okay.
And that comes from the HOA might have a covenants and restriction document. There's a lot of situations in East Dallas where we do a lot of our business where there were these restrictions back in the day, and they're very old, and they say you can't have a 2-story house in this area. And so that can become an issue if you're looking to build on or tear down or whatever. So those are the things you want to look at. And normally they're right at the top of Schedule B. Under number 1, right there is going to tell you what, it's going to be a document. And so a lot of agents don't realize it. They've got to then ask for that document to look at it and say, hey, I want to see these restrictions here. Now, a lot of times it doesn't matter. You're just buying it. So there, but if you're wanting to do something with that house, you want to look at that. So that's number 2. Number 3 is on Schedule C, there is, that tells you if there's any liens on the property. So those are always
big.
Yes. So you got to take care of those. And that is kind of our job as the title company to get Schedule C
So they don't need to worry about that as an agent.
Well, they do if there's something out there, like if we see a lien on there, then we've got to get with those sellers and say, hey, look, they're showing a lien here. It might be a city mowing lien, or it might, they might have a mortgage on the property, so that's going to show up. But sometimes there's weird stuff on there, and so that's when we always send out a seller information sheet at the start of the process to get as much information as we can, to where when those liens do come, we kind of know about them, so they're easily taken care of. But sometimes there's stuff on there that seller might not know about. They're like, well, I don't know what that is. Or it's from a previous owner that never got cleared from that previous title company. Those are always things we have to deal with. So Schedule C is the title company. That's kind of our nuts and bolts of where we've got to be like, all right,
here we
go. We got to go to work on this. There's issues here, and we've got to take care of them. So
I think actually Sally, one of our assistants, has a piece of paper in her office, and I think there was like 37 liens or something. That she had to clear, and she did it. That's how good lawyers
Sally's the best. Sally's awesome. She's awesome.
Okay, so another thing that people ask me about all the time, I feel like, is, okay, in this day and age, like, do I really need title insurance? Like, why do I need title insurance? Like, this isn't the Wild West.
I get that question all the time. And they're like, it's a racket. Why do you need title insurance?
Exactly.
And I always tell them, I was like, well, do you want to sell your house? You want to be able to market your house? Because whoever is going to buy your house, they want to know that you have clean title. So, I mean, I've just seen it happen before, where people think that they can go to an attorney and they can do a warranty deed that transfers ownership of this property, and they've done no research on it. So there could be tax liens on it, and then they're in a bad situation because they didn't do any research to figure out. Or let's say you have title insurance and somebody comes out of the woodwork and somehow that title company missed this owner of the property, or missed a lien. Guess what? You've got title insurance showing you have clear title. So you go back to the title company, make a claim. Luckily, we don't like to do those, and we don't have those happen. But it just gives you that extra. It's insurance. It's for you. It's to make sure that what you're buying is actually yours now. And you don't have to worry about it. So it's just something you always have to have.
Well, and I just feel like, it's one of those things. They're like, oh, why should I do that? Da, 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 da. Well, don't do it, and then see what happens.
Exactly. I mean,
so that's probably the other option, which is not a great one.
No. So I always tell people that's why, because you want to be able to sell your house and market it, and they want to know that you have good title. So.
Okay, so then another thing, I feel like people are like, what do y'all even do there? Like, I don't understand. Like,
We have
you know,
fun.
well,
That's what
that
we
is
do.
true. We do have fun. We have a lot of fun.
do.
That's one of the great things about Lawyer's Title.
Yes.
But kind of from start to finish, like, so we research, then we problem solve, you know, with the liens. And then, you know, people don't understand that really behind the scenes, we're doing a lot. We're the liaison. I mean, we're back and forth with the lender. I mean, kind of go
Yeah.
into like,
You know, I always tell people being a closer is not an easy job.
No, it is
There's
not
so
glamorous,
many
and
things that they have
Be
to
nice
do.
to your closers.
Yes, please.
Please be nice to your closers.
Because they're always overworked. They always have so much going on because there's just so many things that you have to do as a closer. And so that's why having a team like we have, the assistants that we have,
Oh my gosh, yes.
are just so valuable because one closer can't do it all.
No.
And you know, one of the things we try to do though is have our closers talk to the agents or whoever wants to talk to you, but we have to have a team in place to be able to do everything that has to get done because we have to, we order home warranties, HOA docs, payoffs. I mean, there's just so
Everything.
many
We
things.
take
that
the
goes into
earnest
it.
money now. We take.
We have to be babysitters for some people, psychiatrists. You know, it's everything.
But we're also dealing with the lender. We're with
That's
the
right.
lender. We're with. I mean, we're the glue. I feel
100%.
like that holds it together towards the very end.
100%. And it's such an emotional process.
Yes.
Residential real estate is so emotional.
Yes.
And so if things aren't going well, and you know, a lot of times it's out of our hands.
Right.
And they
But
want
we
to point
take
the
the
finger at
brunt.
us.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it's part of it. That's why our closers are so valuable to us because they have such a hard job.
And then we do get to be there for the happy time when they close. That is
100%,
super exciting.
100%. It's a rewarding
Yes,
thing.
at the end. Yeah,
Yes, 100%. I love closing table. I love first home buyers to experience their excitement with it because most of the time everybody's just trying to get along and get to the closing table.
Right.
Everybody's got the same goal here.
Right.
And so that's why I always get frustrated when you have one side, you know, not being forthcoming or just not being nice. It's like, we're all working on the same goal here.
Yeah.
You know, we're all trying to get to this finish line. So it can frustrate me sometimes, but most of the time, people are great working with them.
All of our customers, we love them.
We
all.
love them. We love them.
We love them. Okay, so what is one of the craziest things that you've seen at the closing table or just like in the process?
We've had some crazy closes. So some of the things we've done, we've closed people at the hospital.
Yes.
People are about
Delivering
to have
a
a baby. We've done that.
Waffle House. Someone wanted to be at a Waffle House to celebrate.
House.
Okay.
Yes, we've had some crazy closings like that.
We did have someone that didn't want to close though, because she had a dream or she saw a ghost or
So
her mom
we had
told
one
her, or
situation.
what
This is actually a
happened?
good story. So basically, they thought that the house was haunted, and they were freaking out because they heard voices or something on their last inspection. And literally was not about to close, but I think the agent was like, you kind of got it. This is not going to get you out of this. You could be in trouble. Well, they kind of figured out what it was. There was like some sort of speakers for their dog that would go off. And so they thought literally the house was haunted. And it was just, and so it was all just a big misunderstanding. So they figured it out. And luckily it
And
closed.
they closed?
Everything was good. Yes, they closed.
Did they take the
As far
speakers
as I know, they're very happy with the house. I don't know, but yes, it was kind of a crazy situation. But
I mean, that is a little odd.
it was odd.
Who
It was
has
odd, but
like so dogs don't feel lonely.
I don't know. It was something for the dogs or something. I don't really remember exactly. Maybe that was it. Maybe that
So
was it.
sellers, if you have speakers in your house for your dog and you're trying to show
Turn
it,
them off.
turn it off.
Yes, because people think your house is haunted.
Oh my gosh. Oh Lordy. Well, okay. So what is some of your favorite things about working at Lawyer's Title?
It's the people. I mean, that's honestly what it is. I love the people that we get to work with. They're all just, you know, we've built this team because we've had people come and go, but I just feel like everybody really gets along. There's always going to be, you know, it's an intense business.
Yeah.
I mean, there's stressful days. And so I think the good part about us, though, is we normally will always work together. There's never like awkwardness. We have a lot of fun. You know, we really do. And I didn't get in the title business not to have fun because I was working in a law firm not having fun. And I was like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to have fun. And we've always made it fun. You know, we try to do different things culturally to, you know, just have people want to come to work.
Right.
You know, I didn't want a job where I didn't want to come to work.
Well,
and I've
I'm
enjoyed
sure.
coming to work here.
And so that kind of goes into my next question. What would you say are some of the biggest difference between like us and other title companies?
I think it's just the availability. You know, I tell people anytime, call me anytime. You know, if it's on the weekend, after hours, I will get back.
And he means it.
Yeah, I mean, I really would. Because, I mean, that's all the title is customer service.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter, you know, they're all going to say that the title commitment's mostly going to say the same, or the cost is going to be the same because everything is regulated. So our whole deal is customer service. If we don't do good customer service, we don't have a lot of business. So we've been able to build our business just by that customer service, the family atmosphere that we have, I feel like, in our offices. And we're also backed by a Fortune 500 company. So you kind of have the best of both worlds, where we have all these tools to help realtors, to help salespeople, to help our escrow officers. And so I feel like we kind of have the best of both worlds, where we're from this huge company, but we also have that family atmosphere.
Yeah.
So
that's actually funny. When I started, so my background is in sales before I did this, but I sold clothing, so nothing to title. But I remember when I got in, I was kind of like, okay, what's my sales pitch? Like, you know, like, do we offer less? You know, whatever. And they're like, no, it's all the same. It's regulated by the state. Like, it's all the same. I'm like, well, then how are we different? Like, I don't understand. Like, what can I say?
It's all customer service. I mean,
but
it really
is. I feel like, well, and you know, once you build that reputation and people trust you, and then, you know, word of mouth, and so
we try to have our clients as our friends.
Oh, totally.
You know, they're our friends, they're our business partner, and that's the relationship that we try to build. And
we are so grateful for them, and
100%,
we
100%.
Cherish their support.
And realtors have a very tough job as well, especially in this market. And so do lenders. I mean, they're all just
we're grinding.
It's a tough market.
We're grinding.
It's a tough market right now, and you know, we're making it through, but it's a tough market right now.
Kind of that goes into my next question too. So, do you have any advice for navigating this market? I mean, what can they do? What can they do on our end? I mean,
everybody knows right now it's a seller's market, and so I'm hearing stories that are just, I can't even believe it.
I know. Be nice to your realtors too.
Yes, because getting a house under contract right now is not easy. So I literally just had a conversation with the person that's making an offer, and he asked me that question. I said, here's a few things you can do. Make your option fee big, because that seller is going to see that option fee and know that, okay, I'm going to get that money.
They're serious.
If they're gonna walk away from this deal in the option period, guess what? I get that option fee. So back in the day, you'd put maybe $100. The contract I saw yesterday had $5,000 earnest money and $10,000 option fee. And because they wanted to let that seller know, hey, look, we're serious. And the worst thing that can happen for that seller is they terminate. Guess what? They get their option fee, $10,000 regardless. So that's one thing you can do. And what's funny is when I saw the contract, I talked to the buyer and I said, now
you're sure about
you can lose this $10,000 if you walk away from this. It's like, no, I get it. So that's one thing. The other thing is a lot of buyers these days are paying for title policy. That's one other thing. You know, back in the day, it was always the seller. Well, now that's changing. And so those are two big ways. And then the appraisal waiver. People are scared of that at times. I've talked to my brother, you know, and other lenders about that. You know, there's a way that yes, you can still sign that and feel comfortable, but you got to have a good lender in this market. So I would say, you know, make sure that your lender is coming to you, talking to you about these issues before they happen, and say, here's how we can get this under contract. Lenders are huge, realtors are huge in this market. You've got to have two good ones in order to get under contract.
Well, I feel like honestly right now it's never been more important to have that kind of team around you.
100%.
A great experienced agent, great experienced lender,
100%.
Great experienced title company.
You got to have it all.
You do not want to be giving XYZ title a shot right now.
No.
You don't want to be giving XYZ realtor a shot right now. I mean, you need to go with someone who's an expert in the area.
Yes.
Because it's all about connections right now.
100%.
And you know, this is going to separate, I feel like, a lot of the men from the women or whatever, because you want to go with your core group.
It's a crazy market right now. And I talked to you know, people that have been in this business forever, and they're like, this is the craziest market we've ever seen. I mean, that's what they all say. And I'm like, well, are you sure? Because you said this like last year. They're like, no, it is.
I do feel like we said this last year.
Yeah, we always say it. I feel
and then actually it happened again. I'm kind of like, I think it actually is a little bit crazier.
More and more. And the hard thing about where we are in East Dallas is, you know, there's not a ton of inventory.
No.
And
Trust me, I'm looking.
Yeah, and I know there's not a ton of inventory up north, but they do have more land than we do. We don't have
we're
enough
not
rooftops.
building more houses.
Yeah, we don't have enough rooftops. And so it's a challenge for these people to get under contract. It really is.
Well, and like you mentioned earlier, some of the things that we can help with, we can open title for the sellers, right away, and that's of no charge, to anyone. But really, like we said, make sure you're in communication with everybody kind of on your team.
That's right.
Even if you're about to submit an offer, with your lender, have your lender call the listing agent.
Yeah.
I mean, just the little things I feel like are kind of
100%.
helping right now.
You gotta be ready to have a team ready to go.
Boom, like
you know that you're looking for something right now.
Lordy, please
She's
help
having some
me.
trouble.
Anybody,
Yeah.
you have a house.
Help
I'm
this
like,
girl
silence,
out.
please
Help
help
this poor
me.
girl out.
I might be homeless. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
This is great. Thanks for having me. We didn't giggle
I didn't
or
get to
laugh.
stump him or anything.
Yeah,
it's always
good.
So why don't you tell everybody where they can find you?
So I'm always in East Dallas. I kind of hop between our Lakewood office and our Preston Center office, but you can always email me. My first dot last name at ltic.com.
Well, you have to tell them.
Sorry. JOE.THERIOT at ltic.com. It's Joe.Theriot. So
there you go.
The Riot is what been called before. And then you can call my cell phone anytime.
Or Daddy Title. The Riot or Daddy Title. I don't know.
I don't know about that. Or you can call my cell phone, 469-360-9210. I'm always available by that.
And honestly, even if the order is not with us, you're available to talk about any sticky situation.
I like that because
we learn something.
You learn something in real estate every day.
Yeah.
I mean, there's situations. I mean, Glenda Webb, one of our most experienced closer in our office, she's seen almost everything.
Yeah.
But even she sees new stuff every day,
Yeah.
and it's just amazing that there's always something new in real estate that you haven't seen before. So I'm always happy to talk to anybody about anything.
Well, thank y'all so much for joining us today. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And thank you again for coming on, Joe, and for putting up with all my shenanigans. But we look forward to seeing you next time. Thank y'all so much.